Spartans, the warriors without walls. They didn't build palaces, they didn't write poems, they didn't negotiate. They were born into pain, forged in discipline, and trained to fight as if death was a friend. This is Sparta. Not the Hollywood myth, not the screaming battle cry, but the real warrior culture that lived and died by an unbreakable code. Let's begin with quote number 1. Spartans do not ask how many are the enemy, but where they are. In the heart of ancient Greece, most cities trained soldiers, but Sparta raised warriors. From age 7, Spartan boys entered the agoge, a brutal system of education, endurance, and obedience. They were taught to fight hungry, sleep cold, bleed silently. Because fear wasn't an option, and hesitation was weakness. So when enemies threatened Sparta, no one asked, "How many are they?" They asked, "Where are they?" So they could charge. This wasn't arrogance, it was conditioning. Years of hardship made Spartans view death as a familiar possibility, not a fearsome end. Let me take you to a legendary moment, the Battle of Thermopylae, 480 BCE. A force of just 300 Spartans, and along with allies, faced an invading Persian army of over 100,000 men. When Xerxes, the Persian king, demanded surrender, King Leonidas responded with one phrase, "Mal and Lab, come and take them." They knew they were going to die, they fought anyway. Why? Because they didn't count enemies. They measured honor. Now let's bring it forward. In 1940, during World War II, Winston Churchill stood before the British Parliament and declared, "We shall fight on the beaches. We shall never surrender." England was outnumbered, outgunned, but they didn't ask how strong the enemy was. They asked where to stand. Here are 3 practical lessons from this quote. Don't be intimidated by numbers. Focus on your mission. Great warriors don't measure odds, they measure opportunity. Train until fear is no longer part of the equation. When fear is trained out of you, no enemy seems too large. Let your code lead, not your comfort. Spartans didn't die for survival, they died for principle. Now let's go deeper, into the soul of Sparta. Okay, here's quote number 2. The walls of Sparta are its young men, and its borders the tips of their spears. Most cities built fortresses, stone towers, gates, walls to hide behind. Not Sparta. They didn't believe in walls, because they believed in people. To a Spartan, the strongest defense was a generation of disciplined youth, not bricks. This quote wasn't a metaphor, it was policy. Sparta had no city walls for centuries. Because if your warriors are strong enough, you don't need protection. You are the protection. This is warrior culture in its rawest form. No hiding, no delay, only forward. Let me give you a classic mirror. The Mongols under Genghis Khan. Their power didn't lie in castles. It lay in their people, hardened, fast, ruthless. They moved swiftly, struck decisively, and believed in human superiority over stone. Now a modern echo, the Israeli Defense Forces IDF, a country surrounded by enemies with mandatory military service for its youth. The real defense? Prepared citizens, exactly what Sparta believed. So how can you apply this in daily life? Build your strength, not your shelter. Don't just protect yourself with walls. Prepare yourself with skill, courage, and resilience. Invest in the next generation. Spartans knew a city survives only if its youth are strong, physically, mentally, and morally. Let your discipline be your defense. When you're well trained, you don't need to hide. You face life head-on. Now, if this spirit of Spartan discipline is hitting something in you, don't just sit with it. Like, comment, and subscribe to Conrad Warriors. This is more than history. It's a warrior awakening. Let's continue. Okay, here's quote number 3. The Spartans are the equal of any men when they fight as individuals. Fighting together, they surpass all other men. Here lies the true secret of Spartan dominance: unity. One Spartan was dangerous, but a unit of Spartans? Unstoppable. They trained in formations from childhood, shoulder to shoulder, shield to shield. Each man's left held the shield that guarded the man beside him. If one man broke formation, the line collapsed. So Spartans didn't just fight for survival, they fought to protect each other. It wasn't about personal glory, it was about collective invincibility. Let's revisit Thermopylae. The Spartans didn't just delay the Persians, they bought time for all of Greece to unite. 300 men died. But their unity sparked a movement that ultimately defeated the invaders. Now look at a more modern example, the Navy SEALs. What makes them deadly? Not just their skill, their team cohesion. They say, 2 is 1, 1 is none, because in combat, team talent. And here's another echo, motto from sports. Think of the 2004 Greek national football team. Not the most talented, but united, disciplined, and precise. They won the European Championship, together. Here are 3 takeaways from this quote. Train alone, fight together. Individual skill matters, but unity multiplies strength. Protect your brother. The greatest warrior protects others, not just himself. Ego divides, purpose unites. Spartans weren't the strongest individually, but they were the most bonded. Now let's close with this. Sparta is gone. No city, no army, no kings remain. But the spirit, that still lives. Spartans do not ask how many are the enemy, but where they are. The walls of Sparta are its young men and its borders the tips of their spears. The Spartans are the equal of any men when they fight as individuals. Fighting together, they surpass all other men. What do these quotes really say? They say, train harder than your enemies ever will. Don't build safety, build strength. You are only as powerful as the warriors beside you. In a world that teaches isolation, Sparta teaches unity. In a world full of fear, Sparta teaches readiness. And in a world full of noise, Sparta teaches discipline. So now the question is, will you live like the others or rise like a Spartan? This is Conrad Warriors. The past is calling. Answer with action. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, the true warrior doesn't fight alone. He fights with purpose, with precision, and always with his brothers.